What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be introducing you to my new truck, this 2015 F-150 with 230,000 miles on it. So yes, you heard that correctly. It has 230,000 miles on it. This has the 2.7 liter Ecoboost engine. So when I started shopping for a new truck, there was four things that I wanted. I wanted an Ecoboost engine. I wanted to have the four-door cab configuration so I could haul my family around. I wanted a 2015 or newer body style so that I could have the aluminum. And lastly, it had to have four-wheel drive. So why did I want the Ecoboost engine? For me, there's a couple reasons. First, obviously, is the power. They have pretty good power, and it's not just the power numbers, but it's the power delivery. Both the 2.7 and the larger 3.5 liter Ecoboost engines have very good torque, low in the RPM range. But there was another reason that I wanted an Ecoboost. Today's a drizzly day here, so it's not the best day to show this, but I live in Pocatello, Idaho. The elevation here where I'm at in the valley is about 4,500 feet. And it's very easy whenever I'm doing any of the things that I like to do, going hunting, going skiing, going snowmobiling, any of those activities, it's easy to go up in the mountains and get, up to 6,000 feet. That's easy to do. And when you have a naturally aspirated engine, you lose power as you increase in elevation. As I was looking for numbers to see how much power you lose, the consensus is for a naturally aspirated engine, you lose about 3% of your power for every 1,000 feet in elevation. So this engine, the 2.7 liter, is rated at 325 horsepower and 375 foot-pounds of torque. Now, if you compare that to the 5-liter Coyote engine that was available in the 2015 year model. So here in Pocatello, Idaho, if you're losing 3% per 1,000 feet of elevation, that means you're gonna lose about 13.5% of that power, which puts you at 333 horsepower roughly. So it's right on par to where the Ecoboost, or at least this Ecoboost, the smaller of the two, is at. But the difference being with this engine, you're going to get the power delivery at a much lower RPM. Now, if you continue to go up in elevation, at 6,000 feet, you're going to lose roughly 18% of your power, leaving you with about 315 horsepower. And obviously, the losses just go up from there. Now, one of the things you got to talk about when you're talking about Ecoboost engines is the gas mileage. The F-150s first started out with the Ecoboost in 2011 with the 3.5 liter. And the biggest complaint that I continuously heard at that time was poor fuel economy. Ford marketed the Ecoboost as an engine that would get V6 fuel economy with V8 power. Unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype in the gas mileage area. Now, the 2.7 does do better than the 3.5 liter. Right now, I get about 18 miles to the gallon on the highway and roughly about 17 in town. So in town, it does actually very well and much better than my last truck, my 2000 Chevy Silverado. When it was heavily modded, I was getting about 15 on the highway and about 11 to 12 in town. Now, I do live in Idaho. The speed limit on the highway is 80 miles an hour. So this truck, that 18 miles a gallon that I'm getting on the highway, that's at 80 miles an hour. I have noticed that according to the trip computer, if you slow down to even 70 miles an hour, it does go up closer to about 20 miles per gallon. As you may have noticed on the video, the weather just kept getting worse outside, so I actually came inside the truck here. But I wanted to discuss the other reason I've been pretty interested in the Ecoboost engines, and that's for their Modability. Being a turbocharged engine, basically all you have to do is turn up the boost and you got more power. But not only that, these engines, the aftermarket's pretty good on these, and there's just about everything you could want, you can find for these things. Now at this time, this thing is my daily driver, and as I mentioned, it has 230,000 miles on it, so I don't really have too many plans to, you know, tune it or do any modifications like that to the truck. But it is nice to know that in the future, if I do want to do something with it, I can. Now, when I was shopping, I wasn't dead set on getting the 2.7 liter. I was interested in it, but also because of my budget, which was around $20,000, most of the trucks I was looking at were pretty high mileage. Now this truck I paid $19,000 for, and I was doing some research, and the most common big problem that I found on the Ecoboost, the 3.5 liter Ecoboost, was timing chain issues. And it sounded like it was a problem that sooner or later you're going to have with the truck. If you're going to be paying somebody to do it, you're probably going to be looking at around $5,000 is my guess. Now on this 2.7 liter, however, when I was looking for, you know, common problems and things of that nature for these trucks, the only issue that I came across was leaky oil pans, which obviously isn't good, but it's a lot better than, you know, having to change the timing chain. While I'm in the truck, let me go ahead and give you a quick look around. I was going to do a little more footage of the exterior, and then as you can see, the rain started pouring and I don't really want to be out there, but hopefully you can see that mileage, 230,000 miles. But the truck actually runs fantastic, I would say. I haven't had any problems with it so far. I've probably put 2,000 miles on the truck myself. It was a company truck that they just commuted and put a lot of highway miles on it. In fact, the bed, I don't think they ever even used it. The interior looks pretty clean, other than the driver's seat's a little bit worn. But, you know, I have a bunch of crap in here, and in fact, most of the stuff that looks dirty in here is from me, not the previous owner. When I bought the truck, it came with the window sticker. As you can see here, the original price was $46,000. I believe this truck is the XLT. I don't know if it's an XL or XLT, but it has like I think it's the 302A package. It has a few extras, the bigger screen there. You can see that it's rated at 18 miles a gallon city, 23 highway. You might be able to get 23 highway if you're at, you know, 55, 60 miles an hour. But overall, I've been very happy with the truck so far. Like I said, I haven't had any issues. My plans with the truck, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be, you know, doing heavy modifications to this truck. But what I want to do is kind of document the reliability on these things. This truck's a 2015. It's the first year they had the 2.7 liter Ecoboost. They just haven't been around that long. And, you know, when I was shopping for, you know, this truck, I couldn't find a whole lot of information on the reliability. So, you know, the videos that I plan on doing on this truck are going to be like, you know, I want to document an oil change and get the oil analyzed. I want to change the transmission fluid, the rear diff fluid, see how they look, make sure everything's good there. You know, I'll probably change the spark plugs, and maybe even the biggest thing is to check out the valves on this. It's very common on these Ecoboost for carbon buildup to get on the valves. As far as modifications that I know I do want to do is, first of all, a catch can. That's the number one thing I keep hearing suggested by people, that they say if you have an Ecoboost, you need to have a catch can to help prevent that carbon buildup on your valves. The other mod that I probably will do pretty quick here is to try to get a limited slip rear diff. My model has just the open diff, and I really want that limited slip for the winters. But other than that, I really, at this point, am not sure what I'm going to do with it. If there's something you guys want me to look into, you know, on this high mileage truck, let me know in the comments below. If you have questions or anything like that, just put them below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for checking out my video. If you do want to see any of the follow-up videos on this truck, just hit my logo to subscribe, and thanks for watching. Rain's starting to pour. The longer I sit out here, hopefully you can still see me.